Friday Night Fashion with me, Jo Elvin.
And me, Amanda Wakeley.
Now, if last week we were in really my spiritual home of tennis court, this week it's like sending me to live on an alien planet or under the sea. Hats are not my comfort zone. I find it really difficult to shop for hats, but I've set myself the challenge.
We have set her the challenge, and it's an interesting one, hats, because you often think, I'll start with the dress or the suit or whatever I'm choosing to wear to the races or to a special event. But we were just discussing, you're actually better to start with the hat.
Totally.
Because when you're wearing a hat, when the occasion requires you to wear a hat, it should be all about the hat, in my humble opinion, being a fashion designer. But still, I just think to get that complete look right, start with the hat.
And being really basic, it's just much easier. It's harder to find the hat. Once you found the hat, it's easier to find the rest of the outfit. It's easy to find the dress, but then you could end up really stuck with not being able to find the thing that works with it. I just think
that is so true. And enjoy it and celebrate it. And actually, if you go to a good millinery department or a good milliner, they'll take one look at your face and your hair and be able to help you celebrate what you've got.
Or if you're me, just give you a paper bag. Just quick,
Rubbish,
it down.
Stop it.
Have I told you this before? The other really important thing, and this might be so obvious to so many people, but get the thing fitted properly. Did I tell this story before?
Maybe, but try it again.
I was very busy, probably the most important busy woman on the planet at Glamour magazine when I was invited. I was very lucky to be invited to Ascot, but I didn't have time. I didn't have time to have my hat fitted.
And so what happened?
It's fine. It was a very windy June day, and I spent the entire effing day walking around like this.
Yeah.
And then one point, the Lorraine crew asked to interview me, and they had seated me on a carousel, and the hat blew off and went under the carousel, and television's Mark Hayes had to take off his morning jacket and crawl under the carousel to get my stupid, ill-fitting hat, which wasn't my hat. So I was panicking that I'd ruined the hat.
But it is a really good point. A lot of hats have either a little comb in them or an adjuster band in them. So it's like a little piece of elastic or a thread that you can actually make it fit. And it is worth doing. And actually on that point, I think how you wear a hat is really, really important. So often I see, not so often, sorry, that's really rude, but you can see hats just worn too far back or just not quite right, and you just lose it, and that's a shame. So spend some time, if you're having your hair done, spend some time making sure that your hat is absolutely in the right place.
Queen Elizabeth spent ages practicing with that crown before her coronation. It's the same principle.
Same principle.
Yeah, wear it to Sainsbury's. Yeah. Get the reaction. Yeah.
So we're off to the races. It's Royal Ascot next week. Are you going?
Well, I haven't been invited, Amanda. Have you been invited to Ascot, Amanda?
We are going.
You didn't mention it.
Are going. I am racing around this afternoon to try and get my hat.
It's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It's great fun, and it's just sort of a quintessential British summer event. Although I think we might be with winter woolies on too.
I know, it's depressing.
Hey ho, it is a bit depressing.
Yeah. But if I was going and rain was forecast, I would be completely sheltered. I could have everybody under my Hosty Hats diamond dish hat. I love it so much. This one here for £659, I know it's not cheap, but it's just like, it's an occasion where, and you know why I love this one? It really reminds me of our Queen Camilla. This is the kind of thing that she could really pull off. Her hat game is unrivaled. And I think once you've got that, all you need is a chic cream or white something, perhaps that Stella McCartney cloaked dress that we featured on this show, which some of you will have bought because we told you to, so that I get that hat to go with it.
And with that hat, it's absolutely all about the hat.
Oh, it's heaven.
Yeah, love that. And in fact, £659, a lot of money, but that's a real statement maker.
Yes, it is. I mean, it probably, in high society, it will probably be like, God, she's got that on again. So I'm not sure how much of an investment it is, but I just fell in love with it.
But on that note, there are some amazing hat rental sites too.
Yes, we've been amazed, right? Yeah.
You know, with everything from Philip Tracy to Jane Taylor to Stephen Jones, all these really beautiful couture hats that you can rent for a week.
Have a look at thehatclub.co.uk. I was really impressed with the selection there.
Yep.
Mm.
So where are we going on to next?
Do you want to show
You've
me
got
one
a
of
lot of
yours?
hosty hats here.
Yeah, I know. I just really, I had to stop myself actually, because I just thought, no, you know, and I have got a broader edit, but I just thought they had a really great selection. I'm always self-conscious when trying to choose a hat because I think I've said before.
That it's too big?
Yeah, I've got short hair. I know what they're getting at. As short hair, I never know what to do with my hair under a hat. You've got a framing, lovely crowning glory. You can tie it back if you want. So I never know quite what is the right thing for my little peanut head. So
is it a little peanut head?
Sometimes,
yes.
Yeah, it can look like one in the wrong huge hat.
No, but for me, it's all about the hat. And so I know, well, I haven't chosen my hat yet, but more than likely I will have my hair tied back in a little neat ponytail or chignon. I'll just see so that the hat can speak volumes.
So show me something that you might have your eye on for next week.
So something that I might have my eye on for next week would be this Jane Taylor Nixie boater.
It's very you.
Because I think boaters are really having a moment. And in fact, I did have a little chat with Jane because I'm going to see her later. And she dresses a lot, or headdresses a lot of the royals. And she's done all of those beautiful. She actually did Penny Mordaunt for the coronation. She wore that beautiful.
Oh, and you've got that one here.
Crescent moon band, which just looked gorgeous. And out of interest, that does fit the requirements of the royal enclosure too, because royal enclosure, you've got to have 10 centimeters over your head. You can't wear a diddly little fascinator on the side.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go full on hat, those crescent moon bands, I've worn them a couple of times and I absolutely love them.
I can really see you though in this very wallet friendly Karen Millen boater. I think that's amazing. I think that with your long hair tied into a pony, I think would be gorgeous.
Thank you. I love that. And that was exactly because I'm thinking of wearing a big skirt and that sort of slightly Spanish style. And I thought that was rather beautiful. And I also love the way it ties under the chin. I mean, it doesn't need to tie. You could just, I'm sure you could just slice the ribbons off, shock horror. But actually don't be scared to do things like that. So I thought that was beautiful. I love this sort of straight line that you get.
It's fab. I was very inspired by this A1 Golding hat that's like looks sugar spun. The reason I was very drawn to how are the short-haired women wearing their hats. I love the theatre of that one. And I think, again, because it's got so many lovely colours in that sort of like swirly design, you've got, it just frees up, broadens your options for the rest of the outfit. You don't like it?
Do you want to justify it a bit more?
No? Why?
What are you wearing it with?
I don't know, because I'm not going.
But
what do you mean?
That is a lot of swirling.
I love
Can
it.
you imagine trying to kiss someone with that on?
Well, that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. Why do you need to?
You poke someone's eye out.
What are you up to at Ascot? I'm just there getting drunk and losing money. What about you?
You would have to be blowing kisses in that one. I mean,
Fine by me.
Hang on. My goodness, I would go cross-eyed with that feather in front of me.
No, you wouldn't.
No, seriously.
I love it.
But yeah, okay. We agree to disagree.
Yeah.
For a change.
I think it's so cool. And well, actually, the pillbox on there is like a lavender, isn't it? So again, I think I'd keep it really, really simple with like a white or a lilac dress or something like that, and sheathy.
So again, all about the dress. I'm sorry, all about the hat.
Absolutely.
What am I saying?
Yeah, I think I've definitely chosen statement hats.
Yeah.
That was the brief, I believe.
Well, I mean, I do think so. Actually, having said that, I'll just go off plan for a second. I did throw in here the M&S straw fedora because I've just come back from a week with my mother where I had bought her this hat and I wore it the whole week. We were in the sun and it's a fantastic holiday hat.
Do you think it's Ascot
No,
enough?
absolutely
No, that's right.
not.
Yeah, that's why
No,
I was confused.
it's
Yeah.
total segue.
Yeah.
But for £19.50, it's a really good buy. It's a
really
well-made
cool.
little
Yeah.
straw.
Tell
It's
you,
more of a straw trilby actually than a fedora.
I know I keep saying it, but M&S, because I used to walk through there, you know, sort of like, oh, but now I want loads of things in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Mm.
Now, for me, there's two real milliner destinations for Ascot and for a very, very special hat. And one is Jane Taylor and the other is Philip Tracy.
100%.
And this, now, I'm not a pale pink girl, but I think this on the right skin tone with the right outfit is the most glorious hat.
It's beautiful. I love Philip Tracy's theatrical, dramatic, sculptural. This one for me is slightly vaginal. Slightly.
Thanks for that. You killed it. You've absolutely killed
Well,
it.
you know, you've got to have confidence in your own style, Amanda, like I do when you
Can I
slag
just
off
say,
mine.
it's a beautiful flower. And the other
You're
thing,
so right, and that hat's nice as well. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing I love about his hats is that he'll often just sweep it over an eye, and I think there's a mystery in wearing a hat.
Yeah, but
you've very beautiful.
so that wouldn't drive you crazy walking around like that all day. But mine with a little feather in the front, that's just outrageous, is it? Is that what's? There's a double standard at play here, I
She's
think.
really having a go at me today, isn't she? Okay, let's move right on. Another very, very beautiful sculptural hat.
I think
here.
that one's incredible.
Yeah, Vivian Sheriff, and it's all about the feathers.
It's beautiful. And I just love those colors. Very, very easy to, and to me, it looks like it's quite easy to wear. Actually, pin it in place.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yep.
Look amazing with any of those colors in there. It would look fantastic with something black. I just think it'd be great.
No, I think super sophisticated. I love this, the fact that it's navy blue too. And don't think that you can't wear navy with black, because you really can. I think it's a very sophisticated combination.
Yep.
Now, I've noticed that Vivian Sheriff also has a hat hire service, so you can hire some of these absolutely gorgeous hats for a week from her. It's a pretty impressive service. You can go in, try them on, book them in advance, and then they'll ship them to you and you can ship them back. So, you know, it's lovely to see a milliner thinking about circularity and expense, quite frankly, because hats are a lot of money.
And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because particularly in this day and age, they don't get a lot of outings. So, you know, there is that to consider.
They really don't. Yeah. But there's also the high street to consider, because your beautiful little Karen Millen asymmetric.
Karen Millen, I didn't know Karen Millen did hats.
Yeah.
B, they're all gorgeous. And I love that one particularly.
Yeah, they don't do many, but what they do is really, really good. So definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
I think that's super chic, navy and white.
Yep.
Beautiful navy and white. You're going to tell me it's black and white.
I think it's navy. Yeah, I would have said navy.
But that looks an awful lot more expensive.
It really
than the
£55
price tag on it. So don't think you've got to go to a bespoke milliner to get a very chic looking hat.
What do you think of another A1 Golding? She's so talented. This one is more, it's cheery, isn't it? It's like whimsical, summery. But I really love it. And again, I love something that gives you the option of other colors to pull out, so you've got more options for your hat. And I just think it's really happy.
One eye, girlfriend.
Yeah, I know, but that's I'm fine with it. I was just pointing out your mild hypocrisy. That was it. Yeah.
Mild. Little passive aggressive today. Woof. Right. Let's move on to, now John Boyd was, I mean, I remember him from back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to see that he's still going.
I think that was lovely.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. I think there's something so incredibly feminine about wearing a hat. It really is sort of the icing on the cake, isn't it?
I know. I don't get to do it very often, but
Subtle hint.
I know. Well, I think I don't think that's in my future next week.
To go to Ascot.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Think about your feet, though.
Think about my feet.
You won't have that foot-ache at 4 o'clock.
You won't be coming home on the train, would you? But I was always coming home, and believe me, that train coming home from Ascot from a day at the races, it's not a pretty sight.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh my God, it's not a pretty sight.
Are there a lot of flip-flops and sneakers?
There's a lot of flip-flops. There's a lot of McDonald's. There's a lot of throwing up. There's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of people and not many seats. And
actually, talking about arguments, classic is trying to get into the lift from the boxes
with the hats
at the end of the day. The very upset men with women and women with men. It's hysterical. It really is. I think women have had enough of being on their heels.
Yes.
And men have probably had enough of losing money.
Yes. Yes.
But not that I'm being sexist. Where are we going to next?
What do you think of my Stephen Jones choice? A feathered cloche.
Beautiful. It's quite particular.
What do you mean by that?
I think that silhouette can be sort of, it's very much of an era, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's why I liked it. It's giving me a subtle nod to the new look.
Yes.
Which I really like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, yeah. I agree. And I do think there's something about feathers on hats that just, they move so beautifully. Yeah. They're sort of quite mesmeric. And
I think that's got that artistry and that whimsy, but it's not fussy to wear.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
I mean, to me, I can see that with a little Chanel suit.
Absolutely.
That sort of, or a little Dior. Or
the Dior.
Yeah, the
50s.
bar jacket.
Yeah.
Full skirt.
Gorgeous,
yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Get that. Absolutely get that. I thought this Lock & Co. Lady Grey black with a wide brim, I thought that was rather beautiful.
I think that's wonderful. And I love the bow detail and the way that it sort of like, pulls up the hat at the back so you can do something interesting with your hair behind there.
Yeah.
Show off a nice neck. Yeah, I love
it. It's very ladylike, isn't it?
It's very. I was walking along Savile Row yesterday, and they've got one of the shop windows has got that scene from Audrey Hepburn at the races in My Fair Lady, and it reminds me of that in her black and white.
It's very Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
I think also the model in that image looks very Audrey Hepburn, but I think really, really beautiful. I'm just going to point this one out. Little surprising to me was John Lewis, Little Fascinator. I thought it's by John Richard, £70. It's all mesh. It wouldn't work in the Royal Enclosure. I think very beautiful. Probably it's a younger style, if I'm honest, but rather beautiful, sort of really sculptural. And because that's mesh, you could wear that with a lot of different things. It's one of those sort of quite a useful piece to have in your wardrobe. Where
do you stand in general on fascinators? I blow hot and cold on them.
It's a tricky one because at Ascot at least, and in the Royal Enclosure,
best to avoid. Yeah,
you can't. Yeah. They won't allow you in with a fascinator on. I think there are fascinators and fascinators. In fact, I was just checking the Royal Ascot Royal Enclosure guidelines, and they now call them hatinators for the Royal Enclosure, because that really means that they've got a wide enough band on them or crown on them to be acceptable in the Royal Enclosures.
I think there's a lot of fascinators that are so small. It's like, what's the point?
It's just like
and it just looks like, it's almost like, when you see like bold little baby girls and the mum's put a bow on just so you know it's a girl.
Yeah.
That's it. Kind of like it's giving that vibe to me. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just get a hat.
I totally agree, and I think there's so many fantastic options out there at all price points. That what is the point of an Alice band with a feather? Yes, I'm not for it, but I think some of these more delicate headpieces are really, really beautiful and definitely worth checking out. They're also gorgeous sometimes with an evening dress.
I think I might just sit at home next week with a hat on just so I can feel part of it, even from a distance.
We're going to do a little roundup next week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to,
Yeah. So we'll bring you a roundup of our favourite looks.
We can rate Amanda's look.
Oh, God.
She always looks chic.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope. I've got 4 different options at the moment. I might be reaching out to see who thinks about what.
That's always a bold move.
It's probably too bold.
Yeah.
I think I'll go and see the hat situation first.
But let us know what you think. Are you going to Ascot? Will you be wearing a hat? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on fascinators, hattinators,
and summer weddings,
vaginal sculptures of hats, the whole lot.
Can't take her anywhere.
I know. Sorry, she's Australian. You knew what you were getting into. Thank you so much for watching, and please do like and subscribe. And please, the more you sort of can like and subscribe, rate and review, tell us what you think. The more we can keep making this show if you like it. So thanks.
Take care.